This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hi everyone. Good morning once again. And my name is Chandra. I'll be the instructor for this entire session. Okay, and coming to my experience, I works into this IT industry more than 14 years now. Okay, and more than 6 years I was working in the cloud platform. And out of my interest, I'll be delivering these trainings. Okay, I'm not a complete trainer, so but out of my interest, I'll be delivering these trainings, as a part time. And as a full time, I was a working professional in one of the MNCs. Okay, so first of all, before we start, I just got habituated to interact everyone. So if you guys can give me a kind of a brief introduction about you guys. So what you're doing right now and what you are expecting based on the session, like what is your focus area? Can we do that? Hendra.
Yeah, Chandra. Actually, I'm looking into this cloud platform. Actually, I'm working on a storage platform. Uh, I'm looking to learn this cloud, how it would be.
Yeah, thanks, Venkat. So in which cloud, sorry, which SAN you're working right now? I know that, and how many years of
I'm
experience
on,
you have?
yeah, I'm on SAN storage, not on cloud platform, but I'm familiar with this AWS and Azure, both AWS and Azure. I don't have any real-time experience, but I'm familiar with this both the clouds.
Okay, you
Uh,
are at least you learn yourself. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you so much, Venkat. And how many years of experience you had?
Yeah, I have around 6+ years of experience.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm just noting down, so at least when I'm trying to give any examples, it will be helpful for me. So Venkat, 6+ in a SAN. Okay. So Teja, Pender, anyone?
Hi Chandra. I have overall 6 years of experience on middleware services like web services and web space and web logic and
That's
Tomcat.
great.
So
Excellent.
I'm
Okay.
planning to move to the cloud.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a training on cloud.
Yes, understand. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mahesh, Mahinder, Kumar.
Yeah, we have
Yeah, Chandra.
Ajay here. Ajay, he's currently working on Google Cloud. Ajay,
Yeah, hello.
yeah, Ajay. Chandra, he is currently working on Google Cloud. He is familiar with this Azure AWS, both Azure AWS. Right now, he
Okay.
is working on Google Cloud.
Excellent.
I'm
So
new to Google
Ajay,
Cloud. Recently, I'm starting working in Google Cloud.
okay. So you just started working on Google Cloud, so you just want to understand the technology in depth about it. Right, Ajay?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Fine. We'll discuss about what you learned as of now, but just bear with me for 1 or 2 days because I have to get everyone on the same page. Right? Then we'll continue. Okay. How about others like Gopal, Gupta?
I I overall experience 3.2 only DevOps tools, not using cloud.
How many years?
Three years.
Okay. What are the tools you work as of now? I mean,
Sorry.
okay, in 3 years, you're already working in a DevOps.
Yeah, only DevOps tools, not cloud.
Okay, only DevOps tools in the sense, apart from AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, you'll be working on
Ah,
CI/CD tools or any configuration management tool.
okay.
Gopal, this is a question. Apart
Hello.
from cloud technologies, are you working on what are the other
No,
tools?
yeah. Only Jenkins, Swan, Maven, only
Okay, it
DevOps
means
tools I'm
like,
working.
right, you are working on only CI/CD tools, like in a build and release
Yeah.
tools,
Yeah.
kind of build and release engineer. Okay, excellent. Yeah, thank you. So there is a gap for you in configuration management and as well as cloud. Fine. Okay. Who else? I think Gupta.
Yeah, hi Chandra, this is Mahesh.
Yeah, hi Mahesh.
Yeah, I have 5 years experience on storage. I am looking to move cloud now.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, fine guys. I think I might have missed one or two. I think people are not responded. Okay, fine. And I can see on average 6 years, the whole batch was there, like 6 to 7 years max, like 5 to 7 years. On average, it was 6 years. And I found that at least 2, 3 people are from the storage, right? Or middleware, the combination technologies. Or fine guys. So only 1 or 2 people has already mentioned. I'm already working on a Google.
Chandra, your voice is like echo, not clear.
1 second, let me fix this.
You're
Thank you
getting
so
echo.
much. Thank you so much. Okay, is it clear now?
It's like before. Like means some echo you're getting.
Still you're
I
getting?
think you're in, I think you're in open room. I think so, like that.
Yeah, empty room, so that might be the reason. I just closed everything. So let me a little bit. Okay, just let me know if you are hearing any other noise from background. Then I will try to close my.
Noise background means not clear about your voice. That is what.
I'm just saying, I just opened my door. So in the background, if you hear any other voice, just let me know. I'll close my door.
Okay, sure.
Okay. There is no background noise.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, hi Teja. So Dilip also has joined just now. Hi Dilip, good morning. This is Chandra. We are just about to start. Okay.
Yeah, hi.
So, guys,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Dilip. Okay, so guys, I'm not going to the deeper in this today's session, but I just want to make sure everyone to be understand what we are here, why we are there here. So just bear with me like in 1 or 2 days. If you ask me to explain everything in a Google Cloud a single day, I can't be able to do it. Nobody can be able to do it. So that's why we just set up a kind of target what we can discuss, right? So what is cloud computing at least, right? So we'll go only a few topics we'll discuss it today. So what is cloud computing? Anybody knows? At least somebody has mentioned I'm already working on a Google Cloud. So you might have a clear idea about at least what is cloud. Forget about the Google Cloud. So can you just tell me what is cloud? Or anyone, because you might have done your basic research, then you have enrolled it. Okay, if not, I'll explain right away so that it won't be, time wasting things. Okay. So, but still, if you want to give a try, anybody can please go ahead.
Yeah, Chandra, rather than building their own infrastructure, customers can use Google infrastructure to build their servers or websites, everything.
Right. It might be Google or AWS or Azure, whatever it is.
AWS
So
or anything.
the customer is trying to using other services, other cloud vendor services, right? So now, what is cloud basically? So you are explained the same thing in terms of customer point of view. So just come back to the opposite side. What is cloud? So if you want to become a cloud service provider, what you have to provide? Okay, same answer, but just need to modify basic thing. That's it. Yeah. So as a cloud service provider, I mean, if you want to become a cloud service provider, anyone in the market, right? If you want to become a cloud service provider, you have to follow at least minimum 6 to 7 characteristics. I'll tell you what are those. If you follow these 6 or 7 characteristics, then only you'll got it as a cloud service provider. As we mentioned, as a customer, you no need to build your own infrastructure. So then you are allowed to use some other cloud vendor services. But if I want to become a cloud service provider, what I have to do? So I have to meet your expectation in terms of giving an infrastructure as a service for you, right? First thing, as everybody knows, pay as you go model. If anybody wants to become a cloud service provider, we should not collect any money as the capital expenditure in the beginning, right, Venkat? We are allowed to use them, our services, and we can get the money at the end of the month. That will call it as a pay as you go model, right? And that too, there is no yearly or monthly or daily commitment. How many number of hours they want, let them use it. And we have to use some tools on how many number of hours they have been utilized. Based on their utilization, we are charging for them. Got it? There is no capital expenditure, pay as you go model, and the charges will be on an hourly basis. Okay. And unlimited storage, the SAN guys, at least I can see 2-3 people here. So in your existing environments, like you might have coordinated with your SAN, I mean, when you are part of a SAN team, you might have coordinated with Windows team or Linux team, right? Maybe any other Unix teams basically. So what will happen here? If any of the application team is required some space, your system admin will come back to you and they are requesting you to assign some LANs or sometimes asking you to modify the existing LANs. This is what you used to do. All the provisioning job and everything has been done by SAN team only, right? Who is the SAN guy here? Mahesh. Mahesh
Yes,
and
Chandra.
Venkat, right?
Yes.
But what here we can do as a cloud admin, how much storage you need, you can create it yourself. You don't need to depending with anyone else. Correct? And
Yeah, right.
unlimited storage. So let's suppose if I need enough 200 GB as you are a SAN engineer, I always has to reach out to you. Let's assume I'm a SAN engineer. I have to reach out to you. Venkat, can you please assign a storage? I mean 200 GB for this LAN. So will you able to do that immediately as per the process? Venkat, no, right?
Yeah, it depends. It depends. Yes.
Yeah, it's depending exactly right. You made one more point clear. Yes, it's depending on. It doesn't mean always you have to follow 2-3 days lead time. So when it was a normal change, you are taking a lead time and you are preparing an implementation plan and all of the stuff. And once the change is approved, we both are connected and we are doing that. But
Yes.
when there is a P1, right, P1 or P2, by any chance customer has requested when there is service is getting impacted badly in the background, right? So we are going to assign some storage very quickly.
Yeah.
Correct? Sometimes mostly in a virtual memory requirements, this comes in immediate requirements. Got it. Thank you. So here we don't require anyone else help, anyone else to be involved in the sessions. I mean in this requirements. As a cloud admin, you are allowed to create how much SAN you require. It might be Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud, everything is same, right? So I'm trying to explain what is cloud right now. I'm not talking about anything specific Google Cloud. Okay. So still there are some monitoring as a service. And the most important thing is scaling as a service. If you provide all these services, then only you will call it as a cloud service provider. You understand now? Venkat, everyone? What is cloud computing?
Yes, Chandra.
Hope it's clear now. Right. So if you see
Yes.
here earlier, even if you talk about specifically Google Cloud, everybody knows. I think Venkat, as you mentioned, like you are in 6 years of experience. Before 6 years, also you know Google. Other than your IT experience, right? At least last 10 years before also, 15 years before, you know the Google Cloud. Sorry, Google. Got it?
Yeah.
You know Microsoft.
Yes.
But there is, you might not, I'm sure you might not aware of it. What is Microsoft Azure in 15 years back? Or Google Cloud? Same, right?
Yeah.
Why? What is the reason behind it? It doesn't mean we don't have we have a lack of knowledge. No. It doesn't mean you have a Google company, you are a cloud service provider. You have to provide these many characteristics, then only you call it as a cloud service provider, right? So earlier, Google is not providing all these things. If you see here, earlier also, Google is providing few things. First thing, mailing as a service, as a kind of notification as a service. They are running that, one point. And another one, and you don't know the infrastructure and what kind of OS they are running, what kind of storage they are using. You never think about it. You never question, at least yourself. Simply you are able to access Gmail and you are doing that. You never think in that way, like where they have built the server, what operating system is running on it, right? Whenever I want, I'm allowed to upload 1 or 2 GB videos immediately in my Google Drive, but I'm not requesting any storage space to Google. How come it's working? Any idea? Anybody has questioned yourself at least? No, right? Basically, we don't do that because what we need, we are able to get it. So we just simply leave it. Similarly, here also, Google Cloud Services or AWS Cloud Service also is working the same, any of the cloud. Okay. But earlier there is a limit like 15 GB in a Google Cloud. That is the limitation. Now, when you talk about in a Google Cloud, it's unlimited. Okay. So let's go ahead with why only GCP. I think I have to modify this in the sequence. First, we'll talk about the GCP. Then we'll go about GCP services. Okay, why cloud computing? Hope you understand what is cloud computing. And if somebody wants to make sure to give any other examples, please go ahead. Any of the system admins here, like Unix, Linux, Windows. Okay, so let's suppose if you want to increase the memory immediately, there is a limit for you guys, right? And again, it's required a downtime and all other stuff. We can do that here without having any issues. And we can control the workload without disturbing your existing servers. And whenever you need any servers, you can simply buy and you can terminate when you don't require. And that too, charges very less. Venkat. So let's suppose if you need any instance, any VM you have to build, how much time you'll take? Not only you, in general I'm talking about. Even it is a Windows admin or Linux admin also. Like days, hours.
Yeah, normally you meant to say in a cloud or in general?
Normal, in general, in a on-premise environment.
Yeah, in general. If it is a physical, it will take months, but if it is a VM, so it can be done in days, hours.
Right. At least it may take a number of hours, even though if you streamline every process, right?
Yep.
And apart from that, some cases it may take weeks, like a couple of weeks time, because when you don't have a hardware is ready with you, right? Whenever your hardware is not ready with you, you have to order the hardware, and hardware has to reach your data center. In between, there are finance team and other teams has to work on this. So it takes a lot of time, but we can do that now very quickly with the cloud computing. Let's suppose we can do some automation kind of stuff. Anything you need in a backup and restore, right? Kind of what we discussed, unlimited storage, cost efficient, everything we just discussed about it. So coming to this, what are the cloud service providers available in the market? As we just, everybody at least having a basic idea here. We have AWS, other than Google, we already have AWS, Azure, Oracle, and even Salesforce. I think SAP also. Right? There are some cloud service providers already in the market. So what is the differences here? Coming to the GCP, pricing and speed and performance, live migration of apps, and big data. These many things are giving very vast changes to the market to lead everybody moving to the cloud environment. So now come to this, what is Google Cloud at least? Why we need to learn in GCP? Let's see, we'll move on. You can see these are the cloud service providers which is available in the right now in the market. So why, like what is GCP basically? So Google Cloud Platform enables developers to build and test deploy applications on Google's high scalable and reliable infrastructure. So it's a set of modular cloud-based services that allow you to create anything from simple website to complex applications. Understand these are technical terms. But what is the main advantage of Google Cloud? So before Google Cloud, everybody knows about YouTube, Gmail, or other Google applications, all like Google Maps and all. How it working, guys? Like anyone? How it working? If you talk about
Internet.
any other cloud service provider, yeah, thank you. It's based on the internet, but how this internet has been connected? Okay, through the data centers, right?
Yeah.
So that again, cable. It is not cable, it's a wireless network. Everybody is using it, right? If you talk about AWS or Azure, right? Similarly, they also have a Google Cloud services, but the infrastructure, they don't have any physical data centers everywhere in the world. If you talk about Amazon, they also have some infrastructure in the world. I'll show you that right away. AWS is also having infrastructure with 24 regions, 70 plus availability jobs. Let me open this quickly. This one, okay. Right? Yeah, they have launched a new one. So almost 25 regions with 80 availability zones they are running on it. But these are, they have set up somewhere in the physically. But this network one-to-one region is connected as a wireless. But coming to the Google network, it's more than a collection of data centers to run their other businesses like YouTube, Gmail, and all other stuff. Amazon has already set up data centers, the most of the countries. So now they have connected with internally. You can see the point of presence where you can see the black dots. And you can see there is a blue cable here. That is a network that was directly connected to the data centers. This is the most advantage Google is having other than any other cloud service provider, I can say. The speed and latency, you never experience anything. That is only the reason Google is growing now in the market, right? So in the market, you might have seen earlier, AWS was the market leader, but now what happened? Slowly other cloud service providers also growing up. Now, one of the most advantage Google is having, this is the one. All their data centers are internally connected, right? So if you target about across the market, like if you create it as a kind of share, Google Cloud share, our overall cloud market share is 100%, right? Earlier, Azure is having only 17% or 16%. Now it's come to the more than 25%. Similarly, Google also is growing now. So coming to the Google as well, here we have a 24 regions with 73 zones right now, with 200 plus countries they are available now. And this is the place where you can see always you can verify how many regions we have, how many availability zones we have. Let's suppose here you can see 24 today. It may get launched one more region by tomorrow itself. We never expect that. But to give you a hint, they are giving instructions here. In soon where they are going to open. Okay, like India, like Delhi, Paris, Melbourne, Canada, these locations. If you want, I'm just trying to give this URL to you. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is what I just explained. So when you build on Google Cloud Platform, you are building on Google's fast, scalable, and highly reliable infrastructure. You can innovate and iterate faster since you don't have to worry about the underlying operational aspects. So Google is taking care of everything. You just need to focus on your business. I just try to find something comparison between the AWS and Google Cloud. What would be the price? If you see here, compared to AWS, Google can give very, very less charges. At least there is a 30% in average, there is a less, mostly. You can see here, there is an instance called M4 in AWS. I think everybody knows what is instance. I mean, instance type. Okay, in a cloud environment, instance means like your virtual machine. It's a combination of your CPU and memory. We'll call it as an instance type in the cloud. So it might be Azure, any cloud, like Google Cloud, AWS, whatever it is. Okay, so here there is an instance type called M4. It is having 2 GB RAM. Sorry, 2 CPUs and 8 GB RAM. It will cost you a monthly $87 in AWS. But the same instance, if we are going to launch in GCP, it will cost you only $54. Almost 37% is less compared to AWS. And another instance type called C4. So it will cost you $76 in AWS, but you will get it now $44 itself in GCP. This kind of difference was there, you see, compared to AWS and Google Cloud. Right? Like even read-write permissions also. I'm not saying for everything compared to AWS, Google is best, but few aspects, each and every cloud service provider, they have their own individuality. They have their specialization on it. If you see here, compared to the GCP and AWS, the network which is connected internally in Google Cloud, that is the reason if you try to compare with EC2 and GCE, like Google Compute Engine, GCP is having a better network bandwidth. And the latency also you will expect very, very less here. Here you will see high. Don't think like it was in a high, so it's in a EC2 is good. No. This is about the latency, how much time you will feel. This is very high. Okay. So here if you see, let's suppose at 23 seconds, you'll be able to access any data in Google Cloud. But the same data, if you're trying to access in a Amazon EC2, it will take in a minute. That's what it means.
Yeah, Chandra, on which basis we can tell that that latency is high when compared to this GCP for that AWS and all?
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to stretch out here. Amazon has built their locations like regions and availability zones. Let me understand first. Let me make you understand what is region, what is availability zone. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
let's suppose everybody knows what is data center. Anybody is not aware of it? Anyway, I'll try to cover that as well. Let's suppose where you are going to keep all your infrastructure, like your all servers and everything, in physical location, that we'll call it as a data center. Is it clear now, Venkat?
Yeah.
Let's suppose here you are going to keep all your servers, right? So this is called your data center, technically.
Yeah.
Okay. But in a cloud terminologies, what we are calling it as a availability zone. Sorry. Okay. So here, let's assume instead of data center, we'll call it as a availability zone. Now, coming to the redundancy part, what Amazon has to make sure, they have to launch so many data centers to make sure to serve the clients and across the globe. Got it? Because they are
Yeah.
not focused on any single segment customers like textile, right? Or healthcare or banking, not like that. They are focusing on across all the customers and across the globe. So obviously you have to maintain so many data centers in the world. Let's suppose Google Cloud is having 70 plus data centers and Amazon is having a 70 plus, whatever the count you can see. How they have segregated as a regional availability zone. Let's assume every individual location is availability zone. What are the infrastructure you set up in one location that you can't move physically to any other location? That's how they build it. You can't move any device from here to here. But these two things are interconnected using fiber. So if you want to move anything virtually, like image, you can do that. So on top of it, what they did, these two locations, they will call it as a region. It might be 2 locations, 3 locations, or 5 locations, or 6 locations, whatever it is. But minimum, whenever they call it as a region, it means you can confidently say it's a combination of multiple availability zones. Minimum, you should have a 2 availability zones. Some cases you might have a 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is. If you see in AWS, whatever it is, like in India, we have a region called Mumbai. We have a 3 availability zones. And there is a region called North Virginia. From there, that is also a region, but from there we have a 6 availability zones. Got it? So it doesn't mean when you call it as a region, you should have only 2 availability zones. No. Minimum should be 2. Max, it might be any, like 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. Okay. Clear now? So
Yeah,
you
got it.
understand what is region availability zone now? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, got it.
So now coming to your question, when you ask, how can we say this? Okay, if when someone asks, like any of your colleagues or friends, or maybe when you're going to attend any interviews, how can you confidently say this point? What is latency? And why it was good in AWS, why not compared to, sorry, why it's good in GCP, why not AWS, when you're trying to compare it. Okay, so it means, let's suppose, Venkat, you are allocated some storage or something like that and created a file system on one of the server. But our server is located in Singapore and we both are working for a customer called Vodafone. And Vodafone customers are all individual people in India, right? And I have hosted one of the mobile application in one of the land which you provision. So everybody is trying to access from India. So do you think they will be able to access immediately or there will be a latency?
Yeah, where it is hosted, your voice is big. Yeah, then definitely there will be latency.
Right. So let's try to change the example. Now we found that this is a difference and we kept it one more server in India itself. Now people is
Yeah.
trying to access.
And now it has it reduces the latency.
Yes. Right. Similarly, it is here what this is. They both having an internal locations, but all this data centers was interconnected with the cables. So coming to the wireless and with wire, always the service will be good. Even in our homes, when you try to connect any calls through Wi-Fi, you might have facing some issues. So what you do, you try to connect the cable like an Ethernet cable, right? So you won't feel that latency. Understand now? Anyway,
Yeah, okay. You mean
so
to say all the regions in this GCP are interconnected through cables,
excellent.
uh, and
If you try
this
to compare with
AW,
AWS or Azure or any other cloud as of now, as per my knowledge, it was not interconnected.
okay, there is no physical connectivity.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, got it.
So that is the most what we can say like in a selling point, like SOP, whatever we call it, right? So in a sales point also, if they are going to meet to any customer, they can say you never feel any disconnections, right? Because it's physically connected, right? Yeah, you can see here, build on the same infrastructure that allows you to Google to return billions of search results in milliseconds. If you try to type something in a Google, you will be able to get the data in a fraction of seconds. But that data might be related to Singapore, or Canada, or Japan, anything. But you sit in Hyderabad, you are trying to pull that data. Right? Obviously, what will happen? In India data, we'll keep it in India server only. And Japan data will create one server in Japan and we'll keep the data over there only. Right? But when you try to access that similar data from Hyderabad only, so there is no difference for you at what country data it is.
Chandra, I have a Chandra, this is Gupta. Yes, I have a small one.
Go ahead, Gupta.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, unlike AWS, so every service will span across regions, except in GCP. I meant to say the same thing.
Every service, can you just repeat? Every service?
Every server or every service, I mean to say, will span across the regions, is it? I mean, because in AWS, we can see the only S3 bucket can have that accessibility. So here, since it is interconnected with the fibers and all,
Right.
so each and every service will span across the regions.
Yes. Yeah. And you bring up a good one more point. Even if you talk about AWS, if you know that, there is a service called EFS, Elastic File System. But initially it was available only 3 or 4 regions in 2017 or 2015 somewhere, right? And later what happened? More than 20 regions is available. Still 1 or 2 regions is not available. But here, whatever Google Cloud has launched, it will be available across all the regions immediately because the network was global.
Fine.
Yeah, we'll talk about one by one. I don't want to take you everything in a single day. And even support also we have like AWS. AWS support, you guys might have learned about it. Like there is a software, there is an option called basic, developer, business, and enterprise. Similarly, we have a support function also here. I'll try to elaborate that. So here also we are coming to the Google Cloud. What are the benefits which we have? First thing is like in a high productivity, and you can work from anywhere, like work from home. You can work from anywhere. Quick collaboration. The security will be in a high security, and it's most reliable and it's more flexible. But coming to the charges, I think I just explained. Right. So here, the products of services can be broadly categorized in this areas. We have so many services, but they just categorize like this. What is computing services? What is storage services? Let's suppose we talk about Amazon also, like we have an Amazon S3, right? Like in a Snowball, CloudFront. So many things like Glacier, all these things comes under storage. So that's why they put it as a storage services. Similarly here, we have a computing, storage, big data, and machine learning technologies. So it was differentiated like this. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about this one by one. Yeah, to communicate this to anyway, pricing also not required. Yeah. So how do you connect with your Google Cloud Console. Anybody has tried what is the console? Have you created your accounts by any chance? Please try to create your accounts. It's similar to AWS if you know that. If not, I'll try to create I'll give an account creation document as well, right? So try to sign up this, okay? So with your account, here also we have some free setup things, but it's a kind of dollar base. They will give some free limits. You can practice that. If it is done, then try to create a new account. No problem. We'll create a new one. Just go ahead. Okay. If you created your account in a month or years back, what will happen? It will show you your free trial is over, but you can still access. So what will happen? Whatever you do, it will cost you. So what you can do here? Don't sign up here. Just ignore this account or close this account and try to create a new one. Otherwise, from the day one, it will start charging for you. So what you have to do? Try to use with your new Gmail ID and create your account. This is also my old account. I'll try to create a new one, and probably you guys also has create. Okay, so that will give you a $300 in every month, so we don't get charged. Okay. Any questions on this? How to access and everything?
Like that, how many months it will be available without charge?
12 months.
12 months.
Yeah.
For 12 months, we can use any services.
You can use any service, but there is a limit they have given. Let's suppose in every month they have given 20,000 as a value, like $300, right? What are the service you used, and it will cost you something. Whenever that reaches to 20,000 or $300 as a value, then whatever it costs you more, that you have to pay. Understand now? Let's suppose if you launch 10 instances, 10 different types of instances. Each and every instance, it will cost you, maybe $10, right?
Okay.
So, just an example I'm talking about. If you launch 10 instances, if you're continuously running for 10 instances continuously in the entire month, it will cost you $300. So you will not be charged anything. But practically, if you see, when you launch 11th instance, what will happen? From the day one, for the 11th instance, how many number of hours you have been utilized, you will be charged for that. Got it? Or you can say any instance you are allowed to use storage also. So you're not launching a number of instances, you might have created a values. That also will cost you. Altogether, your monthly billing should not reach $300. That is the advantage here we have in a Google Cloud. Clear now?
Clear.
But when you try to compare with AWS, this is the best feature, I can say. AWS won't have given, they just given only one instance type is free. You have to practice with only one particular instance. Other than that, if you try to access anything, it will cost you. But here, they're asking you to do whatever you would like to do. But overall, they put some value. Right, Venkat? Teja?
Yeah.
Upendra? So each and every cloud service provider, they have their more features like own selling points. Okay, anybody who would like to speak something? Because continuously I'll be speaking. Okay, let me finish this. So if you want to connect here, what we can do, we have an AWS GUI, and parallelly there is a command line interface. Similarly, here also we have a cloud console like GUI, and we have a cloud SDK as well. So SDK in the sense, I'll show you. I just configure. Yeah, Google Cloud SDK shell. So we can configure this. So from here, it's like in a command line. So you can type any commands from here that it will get list to. That service can be configured on your console, like in the cloud environment. With the command line, you are going to access that. Okay, this is the thing. So what you are trying to do? whatever the services you want, you can do this. Right. So I just mentioned all the commands here. I'll try to share that if required with you guys. So what is the cloud version about this one? Like, Google Cloud version here, right? So to verify these things, and even if you want to update something here itself in the command line, we can do that. Always there is a spell checks. Cloud. Like people is working on Linux by any chance, like YAML update kind of things. Similarly, it's just trying to update all these components. Anyway, we'll discuss about. So here there is a way how you are going to communicate your Google Cloud Console. Like how we can interact with the Google Cloud platform.
Yes, similar to PowerShell, which is
excellent. Like we have a PowerShell, right? At least.
yeah, for Azure.
Right. Similarly, it is in AWS. It was a CLI. Here we'll call it as a SDK. Like we can say Cloud Shell. And I can say, yeah, I think somebody has raised, there is a point. Everything in AWS, it works in a region base. Here, what we can do, you can create a project and you can create the services from any region. Let's suppose if you want to launch 2 instances in your AWS screen. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to compare, don't get bad. So I'm just trying to make you understand. So the thing is, if you launch one server in North Virginia, one server in Mumbai, if you want to see those details, you have to go into the 2 different screens in AWS. But in a Google Cloud, it's not like that. It's in a project. So you can create a project 1 and you can launch 2 instances in 2 different locations also. It will be visible in the same page. That's how it is. Okay, we'll talk about one by one. So here also we have like an IAM kind of stuff. Like machine types. Anyway, I don't want to go in detail about in a single day itself, like billing model and all. We'll do one by one. Any other questions from as of now?
No questions, Chandra.
Okay, I mean, did I cover what you expected? Basically, in this session, you might have expected something to be covered, but I may or may not cover. So can you just tell me that if I would be able to do that, I'll do it. Because here I can see like 10 participants. So I just make sure everybody should be on the same page. That's why.
Hello, Chandra.
Yes, Ajay.
I have covered in this training like Terraform or Cloud Build for GCP. Any CSVD tools?
No, basically, but if you want, we'll try to do that. But basically, the course which we designed here, like in any other cloud service provider, will go like in GCP. It means what are the services provided by GCP. Like if it is AWS, we'll go with an AWS services. But in a course called DevOps, from there we'll configure one programming language and some few Linux basics and one cloud service provider. It might be AWS or GCP. Like this, we'll try to build the course content like this, like in configuration management, at least 1 or 2 tools like Docker and everything like that. Like CI/CD tools also 1 or 2. I think you are now built-in release engineer earlier also, right? No? Okay, sorry, I think that is Gopal. Okay. Yeah, what you would like to learn, Ajay? What is your interest? I mean, you say something. Let me know that if I could be able to add it, I'll try to do it. If it is cover an hour or two.
Like we have cloud build services is right in GCP.
Right.
So I am asking that.
Sorry. Okay then. I'm just making a note. Let me see if I can be able to cover anything in an hour or two. Then I'll add that also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone, guys?
What is the current value of GCP? We are mainly used to listen about the Azure and AWS.
Right. Google will boom like anything. I mean, you just take my word, and you can see that down the line there is a result. And Google also is doing a fantastic job in the background. So they are finding the trainers like me or any other trainers, and they are making sure that technology will be enhanced to every engineer in the market now. Right. So they're already started going on. But the thing is, AWS has started immediately. Google has started a bit late.
Okay.
Yeah, Chandra, please share the topics, what and all we are going to discuss in future, like in Azure and AWS, like instances, winners and all like that, right?
Right.
Can you share the content? Yeah. What are the topics we're going
I'm
to
just
cover?
trying
And all?
to open it, but don't get me wrong. If any other names is getting populated here, I just forgot to remove that. Okay. So let me show you this. This is what I just prepared, but anyway, content can be modified as always if you have any specific requirements. But we just
Yeah.
pre-defined this content course. You go ahead, I'll forward this to all your the consultant, Kiran or Venkat, whoever it is. Then we just try to modify this content. This is what we just planned, because in a Simplilearn also I'll be providing a training and all other vendors. So it's a common course content basically. Okay, so we talk about an introduction about this, day one, and
Yeah.
introduction to cloud. We just did it, and we talk about introduction to GCP. We'll start from tomorrow, whenever the next class it is, right? How it was designed, right? How we can create in our account, right? So, like as I just mentioned, it's in a project-based services. So how to create a project and how the billing will come, and how to create an SDK first. Then from there, we talk about other services. So this is a kind of initial setup, like sign-in process and everything, like GUI setup and as well as CLI setup, like an SDK setup. Then we talk about service-based called an IAM. So like you guys should know, right? So as an admin, you have a complete privileges. When you sign up your account with your email ID, that will act as your root account or admin account. You have all the privileges on it. But later part, you can create some users. We are going to do that as a practice. Let's assume in your team, any of the new guy has joined. Then we have to decide, we have to know him, he's part of which particular team he belongs to. Right? And based on his team, we have to give specific permissions to him. That how we can segregate that or not, we are going to learn about now IAM. How to create a user, how to create a role for him, and all the stuff. Right? Regions and availability zones, I can explain in 10-15 minutes because we just done that. Okay. But in detail, we can go about how they build it and all the infrastructure. Will speak more time. And like how to create a virtual missions. And once you create a virtual missions, what could be the operations we can perform on those missions, like adding a value, or when you can take a mission offline, or what time you are not allowed to take a system to be offline, right? How to create a snapshot, how to migrate that snapshot from one place to another place, and how you can create an image or image cloning, right? There are so many operations will be there. And how to change the instance type basically. Let's suppose you have launched an instance with a 2 GB RAM. Now you want to make it an 8 GB or 16 GB. What are the prerequisites you have to follow? What kind of approvals you have to get it? Now we can do that, right? Where there is an option. So there are so many things that we are going to talk about. Then similarly, network like virtual private cloud. So Google is giving one of the default VPC for you. Later part, you have to create your own customized VPCs you have to set up, so that nobody will not be aware of your environment until unless you disclose your details. Like this, you have to set up. So how are you going to do that, right? How can you create an VPCs and all other stuff? And even there is a VPC peering concept. Let's suppose if you created a VPC 1, within that you have a 10 instance, whatever it is, that can be easily communicated with each instance, like let's suppose 1 to 10, anything. But if you have a VPC 2, from there also you have a 5 instances like 1 to 5, that also can communicate. But when there is a situation, your VPC 1 instance to be communicated with your VPC 2 instance, it will not allow because both are private networks. So how can you bring those two networks in a single network again? That we are going to discuss about now, VPC peering. That can be done inter VPCs and inter regions as well. I'll demonstrate that, and inter accounts also. Let's suppose my account ID is different and your account ID is different, and even you are supporting for a different customer also. If you want to make an peering, yes, it's allowed. And similarly, load balancer and auto scaling. So how can you create a load balancer and how can you create an auto scaling? How many methods are there? We'll discuss about it. And there is another service called content delivery network. So I think Venkat, we discussed about latency, right? Basically, to decrease the latency, this is the best service we are using it. And we can see the good examples also in a CDN, like our cricket patches or anything. We'll talk about in this particular area. And Google Cloud Storage. Okay. Like
okay,
we
guys.
have a data store. Yeah. Like this we
Venkat.
Yeah, hi, go ahead,
Hello.
please.
Yeah,
Please
Kumar here. Yeah, okay, go ahead. I'll discuss with you.
Fine. So like this, we'll go one by one, and there are some services, like almost 15 services we have added. Still, if required, we'll try to add more, but at least I'll try to cover 40 hours to complete this batch. That's what we plan. But anyway, number of hours is not matters for me. I'll try to enhance, I'll try to extend more. Virtually, we should discuss and we should learn it. That is the motto here. Okay, I'm done, guys. So if you have any questions, just go ahead, please. Yeah.
Likewise, like for Azure, we have Azure DevOps, and for AWS, we have AWS DevOps, right? Is there any integrated with GCP?
See, Azure DevOps, AWS DevOps, in the sense, in the DevOps course, we are adding the cloud called AWS or Azure, any one. Rest of the tool is same. There is no change on it. Instead of AWS, we are adding that Azure. Similarly, if you would like to enroll GCP DevOps, yes, instead of AWS Azure, they'll add it in a GCP as a cloud. But what I would like to do it, if you guys is really interested to learn AWS and GCP, I'll run it as a combination batch also. I'm ready to do that.
Okay.
Because most of the people doesn't know AWS, that's fine. I'll try to teach AWS and GCP both. That way also we can plan.
Okay, thank you, guys. Chandra, I will give you a call for regular sessions from when we have to start, and I will fix the timings. Okay, we'll fix the timings accordingly. I will give you a call. Okay, once I have to discuss with Kiran.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, you guys just have a discussion and let me know, and when we can plan and how many hours in a day also we'll do that.
Yeah.
Based on people availability.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, thank you guys. Hope you like the session. If anybody is having any questions, still I'm available to answer your questions. Please go ahead. If you don't have anything, I can we can wind up this now.
From how many years you are working on